Every guitar player goes through the same thing. They feel like getting studious. They learn an augmented chord. Be like, all right, cool, major chord, sharp 5, got it, in my brain. It's the chord with a little plus next to it. And then they just never play it again or use it in their own compositions because there's not a lot of information about how to use it in a modern context. There's like a ton of like old-timey songs that use this. But today we're gonna talk about augmented chords and some ways that you can use them with popular modern examples of how to do it, all right? I'm at the original Martin Guitar Factory right now, which is this incredible backdrop that I have right here. They had me out here for the week, so rocking it on the Shawn Mendes signature Triple O Junior, which we're gonna talk more about in a second, but let's recap what an augmented chord is real quick and then get to the examples, all right? So let's start with D augmented. Basically, it's a D, it's major third, F sharp, so 5A, 4D, 3 on the G string, okay? So a regular D major triad would look like this. Augmented. This does not exist diatonically within any key. That's why you've probably had a hard time maybe using it or finding places to use it. And that's why this video is gonna help you with modern examples, find out where we can do it. The very first example we're gonna do is gonna be a Cardigans song called Love Fool. Sneaky, incredible guitar arrangement. So let me play through the first part. There's two very distinct parts and it pivots on the augmented chord. So I'm just gonna play through it real quick, look for the augmented chord, and then try to figure out with your ear what it's doing here. Starts in A minor. Okay, so ended up here on A major, but I started on A minor. Now, the incredible thing about this arrangement, and why I think this is like one of the best uses of an augmented chord, is because it acts as a gateway in between parallel major and minor, all right? So real quick, the chord progression is A minor. I'm playing A minor 11 because I'm classy. If you're gonna go to the Martin Factory and play a Shawn Mendes Triple O, you gotta be classy. You gotta play A minor 11 instead of an A minor triad. So middle finger on the A on the E string, 5th fret, 5, D and G, and then 3 B, all right? So A minor, D minor, G, 13, C major, back to A minor, D minor, G, C, right? So it's really just A minor, D minor, G, C a couple times. Very diatonic in the key of A minor, key of C. But now we have this run up from this C major, and I'm really just chromatically walking into an augmented chord, okay? But I'm doing it with some different chords, jazz style. And then by the time I get to this E, augmented, 7A, 6D, 5G, 5B, that's my gateway into A major. A, D major, B minor, E major. If you haven't heard this song, you gotta hear it. This is like the other part. And then eventually it's goes back to that E augmented, and then it goes back into the minor. So we're going back and forth between A minor and A major, and we're using it to pivot back and forth. Now, why E is the one, A, B, C, D, E, is because it's the 5th of A. So a lot of times what you'll see is a dominant 7 chord used to go from a 5 to a 1. But if you want to kind of use a palette cleanser to take you from a major key or a minor key or a minor key to a major key, it does a great job by kind of throwing you on, you know, on guard, and then you're free to go either major or minor, either way. So I think that's a great way to use an augmented chord in replacement of essentially maybe like a dominant 7 chord. So I can do the same thing with E7, right? C, D minor, and you know, it works for sure, but I think the augmented chord just has a little bit of a spice to it that makes it more elegant as this incredible Shawn Mendes Triple O guitar. Sneaky, great priced guitar, okay? It comes in an awesome gig bag, made from total recycled plastic, so very organically efficiently sourced. It actually has lyrics from his songs hidden in the guitar. So a lot of the guitars have just different lyrics in it, which is a cool touch. So the next one we're gonna do is the actual Shawn Mendes song. It's called 3 Empty Words. Really great. So the main part of the song goes like this. Cool song, and it has one kind of bridge part that goes like this. So watch this again. We've got G, augmented, E minor over G, G7, C, G, D. Okay, so this is gonna be the second use of using an augmented chord essentially as a passing tone in between other chords to set up a dominant 7-5-1. Okay, so we start with a G, and this chord again, you know, that's the verse part, but then I want to make my way to a C chord, right? So if you're on a G and you want maybe like an elegant way of going from G to C instead of just going G7 to C, we've got this cool little trick here. So we've got G major, G augmented, which is again, there's G major, 3-2 open on the D string, 3-2-1 is augmented, 3-2-2, and then 3-2-3. So basically you have a G and a B, and then we're just going open, 1, 2, 3, and that leads you G, augmented, 7 to C, okay? So that's a really cool way to kind of run up it. Another great example of this in pretty much the same vein is an Elliott Smith song, my hero Elliott Smith, a song called Say Yes. He does pretty much the same thing. But then he goes to an E minor, right? So it's really just kind of like using it as a passing tone in a run up to another chord. It doesn't always have to go 5-1. Like I said, in the Shawn Mendes song, it does end up on G7 to C, Elliott Smith, G7 to E minor, which is really, now that I'm playing it, just a great definition between the hopeful, joyous music of Shawn Mendes and the, and just like the hit you right in the heart music of Elliott Smith. So, really cool kind of version. Just using that. All right. Now, the next one that we're going to do is a Big Thief song called Paul. Adrienne Lenker, another one of my all-time favorite guitarists, another famous Martin player. She usually plays this with capo on 4. We're just going to do it in open because I didn't bring a capo with me. But basically, it sounds like this. Okay, so she actually starts the song off with an E flat augmented. All right, now this is such a cool way to start a song. I love this. Is probably my all-time favorite Big Thief song. If you don't know Big Thief, please listen to it. I'll link all the songs in the description too because you have to listen to Paul, one of my all-time favorite indie rock songs. So we start with the 6th fret on the A string. It's major 3rd, and the cool thing about this is B would be the sharp 5 augmented part, right? So we have an open B. You can also, I've seen her do this thing where she adds the B on the high E string, like that. So you can kind of, you can almost pick this one too. And then we're just gonna go a half step down to D, major essentially. You can say D6 if we get that open B in there still, right? So E flat augmented, D6, E minor, C, D7. Okay, now this is a really, really interesting, and again, I think elegant is the way. There's something just so elegant about augmented chords that I absolutely love. But this is really being used as a replacement for like the 1 chord, which is, I think is just super genius. And she actually does this. So again, let's say this is the second time I'm doing this. E flat augmented, D, E, C, D7. D7 usually leads you to G. cool thing about the verses in that song is sometimes the first chord is going to be that E augmented, and sometimes it'll be G major. So this is a very sneaky alternative genius basically replacement for the one chord, which is something that I don't see a lot, but something that is super, super effective. All right? So if we look at what's E flat's relationship to G, well, look at that. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The sharp 5 of the one chord. So think about sharp 5 is just a way to kind of link things together, right? So if we think of, all right, well, how do I want to maybe spice something up? I'm going to add an augmented chord as a replacement for the one chord. The easy way to find that is what's the sharp 5 of the one, there, and then I can maybe make a augmented chord there, right? So again, she's interchangeably going back and forth between that augmented chord to D, to E minor, to C, and then the second time around, she'll go So again, it's just the way that I see it. You can make an argument that it's not necessarily a replacement for the one chord, it's just a different part, but I just think it's something that sounds really cool and something that you could use in your own compositions if you want to be a genius like Adrian Lenker and the rest of Big Thief. The last one that I want to talk about is an absolute classic, and it has more to do with moving bass notes around and then harmonizing those bass notes. One of my all-time favorite jazzier songs of what I still consider the modern era, Nora Jones, Don't Know Why. We're going to start on B flat major 7. I'll just play through the whole main verse. Okay, so chord progression, we got B flat major 7 to B7 to E flat major 7 to D augmented to G minor, C9, F, B flat. Okay, so if we think of the root notes, it's B flat, E flat, D, G, C, F, B flat. So when we do that, this is really another way to kind of get to G minor, right? Because we have this first part. It's like, how good is that? That sounds so good. Where is it taking us? Will take us to a walk to the G minor, okay? And again, something that's cool about this song is I feel like it kind of does float in between B flat and C, and I feel like that's a good way to just think of it almost as like a portal to tie two keys together, right? I think that's kind of like my main takeaway with augmented chords. And this is a great example just because literally the first two chords are major 7 to dominant 7 on the same root note, okay? And again, from a chord progression sense, it's like, well, am I in the key of B flat, because it's major 7, or am I in the 4 of F? And then as soon as it goes to 5, that's pushing you to E flat, and then we're gonna go back down. And then that pushes you to G minor, then C9, dominant pushes you F, and back home to B flat. So one way that you could remember this is maybe thinking like, all right, if I am in the key of B flat, maybe I could use this as a way to take my 3 chord, which is usually minor, D minor, and then that goes to my relative minor, which in B flat's case is G. So again, these are just shortcuts. It's like, I'm not saying that Jesse Harris, who wrote the song, was thinking in that way, but it's just a way for you to think, where could this potentially go? Maybe this is like, I know I've got this song and I've got my 1 chord and I need to get to my 6 chord. How do I get there besides just maybe diatonically going through the scale? Well, let's kind of come up with like a cool way to push it there. And it doesn't get any better than that. So just a really cool, just kind of modern take on, classic jazz type stuff. But anyway, how great does this sound on the Shawn Mendes guitar? Again, this is for sub $1,000 guitars. I think this is it because, like I said, it comes with an awesome gig bag. It's sustainably sourced, and I love the body size of it. It's It's a little bit smaller than a triple O, but I wouldn't say considerably smaller. Like, it doesn't look weirdishly small when you play it. So something travel-wise could be great. Again, really super cool guitar. Thank you to Martin for having me out of the factory. Shout out to my man, Rory, absolute legend. And yeah, I'll have an affiliate link in the description for this guitar if you're interested, or any other Martin guitar, because by far my favorite acoustic guitar company, and pretty much everybody else's, because again, they're number one for a reason. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, hit me in the comment section, Instagram, the website. I'll talk to you all soon.